War is something that nobody likes, but yet we cannot deny the probability of it happening in the near future. So, by keeping in that mind, the constitutional framers back then has added some of the emergency provisions in our very constitution in order to prevent such kind of scenes in the near future and to deal with it smoothly. So, in today's video, we're going to understand the emergency provisions under the Indian Constitution which fall upon from Article 352 to Article 360. So by the end of this video, we'll be understanding a clear view about what emergency provisions are, what are the case laws relating to these emergency provisions, and what are the things that we need to remember in order to score well in our competitive exams. So let's get started from the very first slide. So first, we will understand how many types of emergency is there in the Indian Constitution. So there are basically three types of emergency that we get in the Indian Constitution. The first one is national emergency, which falls upon Article 352. The second is presidential rule, which is also known as state emergency, which falls under Article 356. And at last, we have financial emergency, which falls under Article 360. So these are the three types of emergency that we have under the very Constitution of India. Apart from this, there are no other types of emergency that can be added into that list till now. So there are the very three important emergency that we need to remember at any cost. It is national emergency, president's rule, or state emergency, or financial emergency. Now let us understand what national emergency is in a simple manner possible. So national emergency falls upon Article 352. Now we will understand on what grounds national emergency can be declared. War. If there is a war happening or there's a possibility to have a war in the near future, on that ground national emergency can be declared. For example, now we are having this war-like scene with Pakistan and India. That can also be a reason to add also proclaim national emergency. Then we have external aggression. So external aggression is also another kind of ground on what basis national emergency can be declared. Then we have armed rebellion. Earlier internal disturbance. So earlier rebellion was used to be as internal disturbance, but after some of the amendment procedures, now we have changed this internal disturbance to armed rebellion. So now if we need to add the grounds, we can't add armed rebellion. We cannot use internal disturbance because it is not in existence in right now. So we have to refer armed rebellion only. Now we will understand what are the procedure to proclaim national emergency under Article 352. Declare president on cabinet recommendation in writing. So only the president can declare a national emergency. That too in writing on cabinet recommendation. Other than the president, there are no other person who can declare or proclaim national emergency. Must be approved by both houses within 1 month. So as we all know, there are two houses, that is Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, and they play a very important role. So in order to declare the national emergency, both the house has to declare or approve the national emergency. If they denies, then national emergency cannot happen even if the president also declares it. And within 1 month, and the time limit they will get, it is 1 month. They cannot extend it beyond that. Valid for 6 months. So once it get declared, for how long it will be in existence. So the time limit is 6 months only. You cannot repeat it, or you cannot, make it more longer than 6 months. Renewable indefinite, but it is renewable. So earlier the rule was quite different, but because of some of the landmark case, this thing has been changed in the national emergency. Now we will understand how to revoke. So you cannot continue declaring the national emergency for as long as possible. There has to be revocation at any time. So now we will understand what procedure can be used to revoke national emergency by president anytime. So as I said, president is the one who will be declaring the national emergency, and he is the one alone who can revoke it at any time. No parliament approval needed. So it was only needed when it was about to approve, but when it's about to revoke, there is no such approval needed from the parliament. If Lok Sabha disapproves, emergency ends. But at any point of time, if Lok Sabha disapproves, the emergency will end right there. Now we'll understand what are the effect the emergency will have over the nation. center gets power over states. As we all know, both center and has state has their different set of rule guidelines to work upon their own particular area. But as soon as the national emergency occurs, the center gets more powerful and they have power over states. They can make laws, they can rule over the state, they can give orders to the state to how to work. So in that situation, the center becomes more powerful or superior in comparison to the state. Fundamental Rights Article 19 suspended only during war on aggression. As we all know, fundamental rights are so fundamental in nature that they cannot be revoked or they cannot be curtailed at any cost. But when national emergency occurs, they got suspended. Article 19 got suspended only during war and aggression. So if there is a war or aggression happening, for example, the current situation that we have, the war between Pakistan and India, so there's possibility our fundamental rights get curtailed. Parliament can make laws on stately. So there are lists available on what basis what center will make laws upon, how state will make laws upon. But during the national emergency, Parliament can make laws on state list. The state becomes inferior in comparison to the center. So this is all about what national emergency is, on what ground it can be declared, who will declare it, what are the procedure, how to revoke, what are its effects. All this I have tried to cover it in one particular slide only. Now let us understand President's rule, or what is state emergency, which falls under Article 356 of Indian Constitution. So let us first understand what are the grounds. Failure of constitutional machinery in a state. So this is the ground on what basis President's rule can be imposed. For example, the Manipur case we can take. There the failure of constitutional machinery. So if the state is not able to keep the people in peace, if the state is not able to maintain law and order, so there's no reason to keep them into a superior position. So if there's a failure, if there's lots of chaos happening, the president has to interfere in order to keep the peace intact. So it is why presidency rules can be applied if the state failed to keep the peace ongoing based on governor's report or president's own satisfaction. So this is one of the ground on what basis president's rule can be imposed. Now let us understand what are the procedures proclaimed by president. So as I said, just like the national emergency, president will only proclaim or declare, must be approved by both houses within 2 months. So earlier the limit was 1 month only. Here president's rule the limit is 2 months. Again, both the house need to approve the president's rule. Valid for 6 months, can be extended up to 3 years. Again, the validity is same, but it can be extended up to 3 years. So 3 years is the maximum time period for how long you can keep the presidential rule ongoing. So this is the ground and procedure on what basis president's rule or state emergency can be applied. Now we will understand what are its effects. State government dismissed. As I said, a state government is there to keep the peace intact, keep the people in unity. If the government fails to do so, then what's the point of keeping them into that position? If you are not able to do your job, then just quit and let someone else do your job with more effective manner. So the first thing, the effect, that is the state government got dismissed because they are not doing their work properly. President, governor and state. So in absence of state government, if there is no government, if there is no rule, there will be possibilities to have chaos and all kind of you know uh, all kind of problem roaming around the state. So in that matter, in the absence of state government, the president or government will run the state. Parliament can legislate for state and parliament will legislate for state. Judicial review, SR Bombay case. So SR Bombay is very important case when it comes to emergency and state emergency. President's rule can be challenged. So these are the decision given by the courts. In this case, this president's rule can be challenged. If anyone files that it has malified intention, then it's just a tool to dissolve the government. Then it can be challenged. Where comes the judicial review? Majority and assembly must be tested on the floor. So these are the decision given in this very case. Now let's move into what is financial emergency. It is fall upon Article 360. So financial, as we all know, it is about some monetary conflict. So that is what is financial emergency. So what is ground? Threat to financial stability or credit of India. If the government or the superior authority feels that there is a financial emergency, on that basis they can declare the financial emergency. Now let us understand the procedure. Declared by president, same just like national emergency or state emergency, only the president has the power. Only the president has them. So it's super powerful. Must be approved by both houses within 2 months. Again, the time limit is 2 months, and both the house is in superior position. If they deny, there is no such emergency, no time limit. But it has no time limit. Earlier, we used to have some time limit, that is 6 months, and in state emergency, it can be extended up to 3 years. But when it comes to national emergency, financial emergency, there is no such time limit that has been added in the Indian Constitution. Continues until revoked. Until the president revokes, it will be continuing without having a particular period. So these are the procedure. Now we will understand what its effect. President can direct state to follow fiscal discipline. The president can direct state salaries of official judges can be reduced. So there is a fixed salary for people like officials or judges. But during that financial emergency, just because we have less credit in our banks or whatever, in that matter we can reduce the salaries. All money bills in states need president's approval. So just like some other bill, money bill has a different kind of pattern, how it will be introduced, how it will get implemented. So in this financial emergency, what happened? All money bill in states needs president's approval. So before passing it, they need president's approval. So these are all three emergency that I have tried to explain. Now let us have a quick comparison between all of them. So how many types of emergency we have? That is three. National President's Rule, which is also known as state emergency, and we have financial emergency. The article that we have, National 352, President's Rule 356, Financial 360. Ground, war, aggression and rebellion. President's Rule, state failure, when the state fails to keep the peace intact. Financial is financial instability. And they approve 1 month by both of the house, 2 months by both of the house, 2 months by both of the house. Duration 6 months is the maximum time period which can be renewed. 6 months maximum, maximum 3 years. So it can also the time limit is 6 months, but it can extend it up to 3 years until revoked. So financial can be ongoing until it is revoked by the president. Now suspension of fundamental rights. So in national emergency fundamental rights, this article 19 got suspended, but during presidential rule or state's emergency, it's not curtailed. And again in financial emergency, it also get curtailed. For example, salary rights got curtailed. So these are the quick comparison among all the three. So that's all for today. In this video, I have tried to cover all the emergency provisions related stuff, what kind of emergency we have, what can we do, what are the procedures, what are the effects and defects, and all such kind of thing. So in my next video, I'll try to cover more such legal concepts. So if you find this video worth watching, please like, share and subscribe. We'll be meeting soon with another video. Thank you for watching.